and your son is coming home. He has a new girlfriend. The girlfriend has 3 different baby's daddies and has been with 100 women. Or what are you going to tell your son? And you should see the dissonance in the woman's face. She's like, okay. Yeah.
Do you have a tough time finding guys who want to like be in a long-term relationship with you? Like you were just saying,
I was going to get to this question. Yeah.
I want to know, like, first of all, do you, the general question is this, do you plan to be married? You're just saying, I'm looking for a guy who's like in it for the long haul. I'm looking for long-term security. I'm looking for a guy who's like good with my daughter, but also, you know, knows how to lay down the D, I guess.
I may be crazy, but I don't ever want to get married.
But you're still looking for a guy you want to be in a long-term relationship with who's got that?
Sure. The reason why I don't want to be married is a lot of my regulars and customers are married men, so I see that side of things. But then also it's the financial. So if I don't like a guy now, I can leave him and, you know, no harm, no foul, right? But if I have to financially pay for a divorce, like, fuck that. And also the financials, blending the financials
so money wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be wifed up.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you feel that rightfully or wrongfully that the way you are judged on social media is going to affect your ability to get married in the future?
Ooh, that's a very good question. Not for the right person.
Okay, you think the right person would just look past that?
Yes, because I think that what I put off on social media is very surface level. So someone who's trying to get to know me will have a completely different version of myself.
If you got married and your husband was loaded, wanted to take care of you completely, and asked you to stop posting pictures in bikinis on Instagram, would you stop doing it?
In a fucking heartbeat.
Beautiful. Okay, awesome.
Wow.
Maddie, what do you think?
That's a different answer.
I would.
Don't
Yeah.
tell me what to do. What?
So you wouldn't if you met a guy, he was loaded, he wanted you to not be on IG, you wouldn't stop being on IG?
If you met your ideal guy.
Oh, okay. I could like stop being on social media. I just don't want to be told what I am and am not allowed to post.
Yeah. No, but he's like you're mine now. I want us to be in this relationship. You don't need to show all this off for other dudes.
Yeah.
You would stop?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
So it's funny, they did this in Miami, and they asked all the girls, "Do you want a long-term relationship, or do you want you in a long-term relationship, or do you want your Instagram?" And every girl said, "I want my Instagram." Every girl said, "I would not give up my Instagram for a long-term relationship." You?
No, yeah, I would give it up. I have a hard time with social media already anyway, as you know. I just finally started like taking pictures and posting. But yeah, no, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And are you looking for long-term? Do you want to get married?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I
No,
do.
I would not give it up.
Well, that's it's your vocation too.
It's a business. It helps with my business.
Can we talk about this? So here's some stats that are on the face level that would seem like a double standard, but they're still true. And so this is something that a lot of women find to be uncomfortable. And this is the statistic. So as you go through life and have more partners, there's studies that show. International Family Studies did this, and basically what they did is they took the number of sexual partners you had and then how that would correlate in a marriage. Whether or not you're happy or not happy in the marriage. The actual question was very happy or not very happy in the marriage. And the second thing was, did you get a divorce, right? Those were the two kind of things that they went through there. And what they found with men is that when men had very few sexual partners, they were happy, and fewer. And then once they got to like 6 to 10 sexual partners, that actually got happier. You notice this? It's like, because normally adjusted men in North America will have like 6 to 10 sexual partners. That means they've had some sexual partners, then they met their wife, and then they're with their wife. Having more sexual partners, what I'm trying to say is, did not affect how happy a man was in his marriage. Okay, and I know some guys here some girls here live in Vegas that get married to a dude, and the girl's been with 3 guys, and the guy has been with 500 girls, and he's just normal because it doesn't really affect men in their relationships if they've been with a lot of. You agree with this?
Yeah.
You've seen this before. Okay, for women, not the same thing. For women, like it would go like the happiest women are literally the first guy they had sex with, they married. Those were the ones who showed the highest level of happiness. Once it got to 6 to 10 partners, it plummeted below 50%. It got really, really low, and women were saying that they didn't enjoy it. And in fact, it got to the point where we had 20 sexual partners, you had a 17% chance of staying in a marriage. For men, this was not the case. Men having more sexual partners had very little correlation on whether or not they stayed in a marriage. Women having more sexual partners had a very statistically significant correlation on whether or not they got out of a marriage.
And remember, it's correlation, not causation.
Yeah, it's correlation, not causation.
However, there's also stats for when women have higher body counts, they have a higher instance of depression, a higher instance of marital unhappiness, or a marital stability.
Again, we're not. This is not a statement about what the way the world should be. But when men have a lot of sexual partners, they don't get depressed. When women have a lot of sexual partners, a lot of times they do. If you guys want to check out the end of the movie After ends at the end of the movie. They show all these porn stars, and at the
I
end,
love them.
have you seen the end of the movie?
Directors. And yeah, I've seen them
But the
all.
women are not well adjusted. A lot of them are very unhappy. A lot of them go back into porn. A lot of them, like, they got religious. Some of them were into drugs. Every one of the dudes was happy. They had started a law practice.
And that was like a different time
Yeah.
period.
Well, I
of
mean, I don't know that studio porn is really even a thing anymore. I think every one of those people.
Still a thing.
Yeah, but they all have OnlyFans. Yeah, I'm saying, like, all of them are using it as lead gen for their own now.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's significantly different now.
So there's depression, there are incidents of divorce, higher incidence of divorce, higher incidence of marital unhappiness, stability is how they define it. Also, and just because I know people are going to knock us on this, it is also the pool, the test sample is for women who are 30 years old or older. So it's not like we're not looking at it, because the reason why they do that is because the average age of first marriage in the United States is 28 for women and 29 or 30 for men. And then it's couples who have been married for at least 5 years.
Yeah. So that
I want
they
to
have
put that
be at
out
least
there
30.
because I got to be accurate here, because there's a lot of sons of is out there quoting these stats and they never quote that stuff because then people go, oh, those really accurate? Yes, they are. That's how those are that's the methodology that they use, and we have to clarify that because people will take it and then they'll run with it.
So the point is, this book behind me, the evolutionary psychology book, this is a book about the way humans are, not the way they ought to be. Like, evolutionary psychology does not cover human rights. Evolutionary psychology covers what were the naturally selected proclivities that humans have that aided in survival. For women to be selective about who they have sexual intercourse with aided in survival, and for men to not be picky aided in their survival.
Men can separate emotion from the sex.
For sure, completely.
So let me ask this question. Here, let's throw this one, because we put this one out before. If you meet a guy, maybe you're with a guy right now, does his sexual history make a difference to you, and does your sexual history make a difference to him? Is it an issue? If you met a guy that had 100 partners, would that bother you?
It's Vegas.
Okay?
I'm sorry.
It is Vegas.
500 partners.
500.
It's Vegas. 500 partners.
Let's make a nice round number.
I mean, honestly, as long as he's clean, doesn't have any STDs, like, I don't give a shit. Like, your past before me is your past before me. Like, especially sexually, that means better experience for me. You know what you're doing in bed.
Does that improve his chances?
Yeah.
Shar, let's make that a TikTok.
And Domo,
let's make that a TikTok, Shar.
And Domo, I know your business, so maybe this is kind of a moot point.
Absolutely,
But
testing is important. I don't really care about the past of other women either. That doesn't bother me, and I don't feel like threatened by that. But just being aware of your test results is your status is important.
So the number's not important so much as the health factor.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the number does not matter at all. I could care less. But I do have 4 brothers at home, and if there was a girl who had about 100 partners, I know that would be a problem for them.
What about
it's different?
What do you think?
With women?
I think it's different for men and women.
So would you not care if?
I don't care. I wouldn't care. That's their past. That all happened before me. Once you have met me and we have started a relationship, it's a whole thing.
Once we get to the natty voodoo clam, then there's no other voodoo clams. There's no other clams. It's just her. It's got it. I understand now. The magic. Okay. Now, do you believe that it matters to men?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, so this may be a bad example, but I feel like if a woman found out her man was cheating, I feel like they're more likely to forgive them and take them back. Where if a guy, I know personally men who have found their girl cheating, it's like the end of the world. And they're like,
Ultimate
she's
sin.
a horrible person. Yeah.
So the way Dr. Bust describes this, men generally ask when they get cheated on, did you f him? Women ask, do you love her?
Yeah.
And the other thing about it is when gay men get cheated on, they ask, did you f him? When lesbian women get cheated on, they ask, do you love her? It actually has to do with XY chromosome and hormones. It does not have to do with your sexual preferences.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you think it matters to men?
Yes and no. I mean, it depends what type of men. Some, especially girls that are in the industry, some men get really excited about that. That's kind of a fetish for them. But then there is that other, citizens.
Demographic of guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You already said
Yeah.
your brothers would have a problem with a girl at 100 body count.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way? The men care more?
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's interesting because we've asked this question before, and then sometimes instead of this, we'll have a girl be like, "Men shouldn't care." We'll be like, "Okay, so you have a son, and your son is coming home. He has a new girlfriend
Or a brother.
or a brother. The girlfriend has 3 different baby's daddies and has been with 100 women. What are you going to tell your son?" And you should see the dissonance in the woman's face. She's like, Okay, yeah.
Three different baby daddies.
I would tell him not to be with her. He can do better because all of a sudden, once it's your
he doesn't want to be number 4.
Yeah, but all of a sudden, when it's your genetics on the line, because this is your child, this person's related to you, then all of a sudden you give it, and that's essentially what happens. Like whenever you ask, it's funny when you ask men questions through the lens of their daughters, they become blue pilled. When you ask women that questions through the lens of their sons, they become red pilled. It's just really interesting how that whole thing works. There is a double standard. If it sounds like there's a double standard, there is a double standard. A man could go to Brazil, 17 girls, and then the next day be cool, and then the day after that, 17 girls, and then go back to his wife and not act any differently. And it blows women's mind when you say that. I'm not excusing that. I'm not saying guys go to Florianopolis and have sex with 17 girls. What I'm saying is that men, that our psychology is different. Like different animals can eat different things. It's just part of their psychology. As men, we have the capability of doing this and separating the love from the intimacy.